bridges between the 5 steps to a conversation. The idea of this is to teach you how to keep momentum moving forward. So the number one reason sales partners struggle to get deals isn't because they aren't working. It's not because they can't explain the product. It's not because they can't explain cash discount or even simply explain it. It's not even because they can't get people interested. Usually it's because they don't know how to bridge it all together, meaning they get stuck in one of the 5 steps to a conversation. They don't know how to transition to the next thing. So what do? They sit there and they just keep talking. And they're talking and talking, but they're not actually gaining momentum or using momentum to move towards the close. And that's what this segment right here is all about. So laying the foundation as you go. Everyone at this point should know what the 5 steps to a conversation are. Okay, you got the intro, short story, presentation, close, and rehash. As you see, there's a couple of bridges there. There are 2 really important bridges I'm going to teach you today. So each one of these steps has a purpose. And each one of these steps does not need to take very long. So let's go over the steps. Your intro. The goal of your intro is to be likable and to just knock a couple of rebuttals down real quick. You always hear me say it. I always saying things like, "Hey, I know you're real busy. I know you probably get like 2 calls on this a day. Let me just share with you what I've got, and I'll be out of your way." Okay, those couple of things I said. I know you're busy. I know you probably get a couple of calls. So let me just get my job done, and I'll get out of your hair. Sorry for bothering you. I'm killing rebuttals. Okay, they can't tell me how busy they are. I know that. I already identified that myself. But more importantly, in the intro, you have to understand, if you haven't been in sales, there's a really cardinal rule, and it's people buy because they like you and they trust you. Now, when you walk in the door on appearance, people don't necessarily know if you're trustable or not. They might make a millisecond decision, but that you can change. But likable, people decide almost right away, especially if they think you're a salesperson. That's why C factors are so important. You have to be a likable person. You have to be happy. You have to smile. You have to connect somehow with them. And that is the point of the intro. It doesn't have to be long. You don't need a big, long story and tell them who the company is and what city they're out of and how long you've been in business and all this stuff, okay? It's not the point of the intro. Intro is real quick. And it is very, very important because people decide if they like you immediately. So be likable. Short story. The point of the short story is you're just piquing their interest, right? You're not explaining it. That's what the presentation is for. You're just slightly piquing their interest and you want to get it out there. I talk about delivering the message. The message we're delivering is we've got a program that's flat rate processing where you don't pay all those junk fees anymore to process cards. So what that means is you don't have a transaction fee, you don't have an annual fee, your batch fee, all those little fees that you hate, we want to get rid of, and we got a flat rate system where you pay a flat $90 a month or $50 a month or $25 or whatever that number is. But you have to understand something here in short story. They're not actually listening to you. They're not. You come in, you're like, I can get rid of your fees to process cards, this and that. They're usually not actually listening yet. They're literally thinking about giving you some excuse on why they don't have time to talk to you. That's why I come in and say, I know you're busy and get a million calls. Because they can no longer say that. Because if I don't say that, I'm coming in telling them about this great program that I believe in, that I know will help them, that I know will put thousands of dollars in their pocket. And what's going through their head is, I can get it. As soon as he stops talking, I'm going to tell him I'm busy so that I cannot have him in here anymore. Okay? So that's why the intro is so important. In that short story, you're starting to deliver the message. You've opened up enough time because they can't tell you they're busy or they get a lot of calls, which bought you enough time to start delivering this message. Now, in that video that you just saw, and something I'm going to say right now is this is why it's so important. I'm always pulling things out. You have to use the visuals. Grab the flyer and put it right in front of them. Touch them with them. Make them grab it. Make them look at it. Get their brain starting to actually think about what you're saying, because you're going to say it multiple times. We've got a program where you don't pay all those junk fees anymore to process carts. You would pay a flat rate. What that means is that transaction fee, the annual fees, the batch fees, the dues and assessments, all that junk is gone and you pay a flat rate. Look, hand them a flyer. Now they're starting to think. They have to at some point start thinking about it. Real quick, let me show you. I love this line. Oh, real quick, let me show you. And you pull the application out. You're pulling, so you've given them a flyer. Real quick, they've taken a brief look at it. As they're looking at the flyer, you're just reiterating a couple of times. Imagine if you didn't have these fees. It's only a flat $90, okay? Now just let me show you, because anyone can say whatever they want. So let me actually show you. Boom, you pull the app out. The first page on the app should not be a bunch of blank boxes for their email, address, phone number. The first page that they should see is a page that has all the black X's in it. See, look. See annual fee? It's crossed out. Look at this. Batches, crossed out. All the fees that people hate that cost a lot of money, they're crossed out. Now what you're doing here, this is your first bridge. You are transitioning from the short story into the presentation, and this pulling the app out as a tool is so critical because it's also your second bridge. But this is your first bridge that keeps the momentum moving forward. It keeps their mind off of making excuses and into actually thinking about what this program can do for them. Show them the main fees. They're crossed out. The main fees to me are those ones you heard me say in the video. I would be promoting transaction fees, that they're not there anymore. I would be promoting batch fees, that they're not there anymore, because that's a daily one. I would be promoting there's no annual fees. People hate annual fees a lot. Every January, they're getting nailed with extra fees. Everyone's February bill is higher than normal because they got all these annual fees. So because we know that those fees are very disliked, let's promote that they don't have them. And I want you to actually get used to where they are in the app so you can point, tap the paper, and show them, look, it's crossed out. Have you ever seen an app with the annual fee with a big X through it? Probably not. Now let's separate ourselves from the competition. They like us enough to where they're still talking to us. We showed them a flyer, trying to pique interest. Now we showed them that there's no fees. At this point, they should know what we're talking about, right? The first time you said it, they weren't listening. By now, they should know what the heck we're talking about. They still might be like, man, I got a sales guy in here. How am I going to get him out of here? But at this point, they're probably like, well, let me give this guy another minute. Where is this going? Is this for real? Okay, you're piquing interest. So now let's separate ourselves from the competition. I don't care if this is your first day. You need to understand that people are getting hit up. If you're in a metro area, forget it. I mean, you're talking 5 times a day on credit card processing. Out in the rural areas, it might be a couple times a week, okay? But you need to understand that, and you use it in your pitch. So at this point, this is where we understand almost everyone in the industry actually wants to see your bill. Everyone comes in here, they want to see what your rates are, and they want to shave off a couple of pennies. I love this program because I don't even have to bother you with any of that. I don't even need your bill. You know how much you pay. It's not important to me because we're going to get rid of it. Do you understand, looking at this app where all the fees are crossed out, why this is so different than anything that's ever come in here before? And let me ask you, since you're the one that knows how much you pay and I don't need your bill, how much would a program like this put back in your pocket? Are you paying like $700 a month here, or are you more like in the $400 range? Give them an either or question. If we can, we want to know how much they're saving. And we don't want to do it by asking for their bill. Just let them ballpark for you. Wow, 500. Okay, so our conversation we're having right now is worth about $6,000 a year for you. Okay, so I appreciate the time you're giving me. I hopefully at this point I've established that this is pretty important. So let me ask you, $6,000 a year, what could you do with that? With COVID just happening, would you put that money back in your business, or is it something in your personal life that you would like to put that money into? If you can get them, so at this point we want them to feel the savings. We want them to feel that money. This is already their money. We're just trying to make it so they don't give it to somebody else. It's already in their pocket. They're just giving it to somebody else. If you can get them to think about what they would do, now they're getting attached to the money. Now they're understanding the program, the value, the why giving you more time is important. Get them to identify what they would do. Super, super important. So now it is time to actually explain how the cash discount program works, right? You've piqued their interest. You've done some math. They've thought about what they would do with the savings. You've identified how much they're going to save. Now it's time to break down how this actually works. And what you're not going to do is just flat out come out and say, hey, we're going to charge your customers. That's technically not how it works anyways. And if you just come out and say things like that, you are really going to have a problem with them. Like, I can't do that. I won't do that. Not interested. Okay. The conversation will be done right there. So what you want to do is you want to normalize it, and you want to soften the blow. The way that you normalize it is you give them explanations or examples that they can relate to, right? So how the gas stations, have you ever been to a gas station where they have a cash price or they have a credit price? Okay, well, that's a form of the cash discount program. The gas station isn't actually paying their fees on the gas. Or have you ever gone online? If you went to Fandango, bought movie tickets, or have you been to the DMV or the local municipality government office and paid something with a card? Okay, well, they have a system in place that offsets their fees, and the way that they do that is they're incentivizing cash, right? If you pay with cash, then you don't have to pay that fee. But if you pay with a card, they're not the ones that are actually absorbing the fee. We, the consumers, are. Okay, and that's how the cash discount program works. The great thing is it's all done automatically. You're not changing stuff. You still go to your terminal, you enter the price, and if they pay via card, the terminal will do all of it by itself, and they'll even itemize it on the receipt. So at the end of the day, those nickels and dimes per transaction that add up a lot to you, you no longer would absorb them on your end. They're passed on in small increments. That's how the cash discount program works. So when you explain it like that, they can relate to it. They've been the consumer, right? So people are used to this stuff. So find those companies, especially if they're local, that they can relate to and realize, I've been on the consumer side of this, and it did not change my purchasing decisions. I still go there, even though I paid a little bit extra for pulling out my card. Okay, you want to normalize it is the whole point that I'm making it here. Do not come out and just say, oh, you're going to pass the fee on. That won't work very well. So we've done a lot of things right now. They like us. We're showing some trust by showing that we're different than the competition. They understand what we're talking about, which is the most important part. If you go to 100 doors and only 5 of them understood what you were selling, then you really only hit 5 doors. So if you can get to this point at all your doors, they should all at least understand what's going on, and you're getting them emotionally feeling what they could do with the money. So now, explain our core model. Because at this point, the one thing you cannot overcome yet is they don't trust you. And it's not you personally, it's the industry. So this is where you start talking about our core model. Again, I'm all about knowing the rebuttal. I'm all about knowing what they're thinking, whether they say it or not. I know what they're thinking, so let's kill it before they have a chance to actually use it as a way to get us out. So if I know, right, there's nothing left to say about the program. They get it. The fees are gone. They're going to pay 50 bucks or 90 bucks. They know how much they're going to save, right? So we're done talking about that. Let's move on. We got to keep momentum moving forward. So now let's talk about what's going to stop them from saying yes, which is I don't trust you. I've been burned. I've had a lot of great companies and salespeople come in here that make all these promises, and I'm almost always disappointed. And then I end up getting screwed because I get put in leases and I can't get out of contracts, right? Now, that's what they're thinking, even though they want the savings. This is why you have to understand our core model, and this is why you want to promote our core model. At this point, it's important that I let you know that we are very familiar with this industry, and I understand that most businesses, I don't know if you're in this boat, but most businesses I talk to haven't always been pleasantly surprised with their experience with processors and switching, right? So I get that. And that's why I want to tell you why we're in business and what our entire model is founded on. It's founded around putting you first. And what I mean by that is everything we do is month to month, and we don't sell or lease equipment. We provide the terminal for free. The reason why we do that, Mr. and Mrs. Merchant, is because we know that people like you are very hesitant. We know that you're hesitant because of past experience, and because we have so much field experience and the owners of our company know what you think about the business. They've set it up so that you're not in a position where if you're not happy, you're going to stay with us. And it's so important because, one, that's the right thing to do. But more importantly, we make our money by you staying with us, right? If you signed up with me today, which is my goal, we're not making a bunch of money. The company does not profit by you signing up. The company makes profit by you being happy and staying with us and continuing to swipe your cards through us. So the reason why I push on this and let people know how our model works is it's the one way that I can show you that we mean what we say, because we're not going to invest in you and give you terminals and do something that's going to make you unhappy where you're just going to leave. That wouldn't make sense. That's because we would literally lose money if that was the case. So we just ask that everyone gives us 30 to 45 days. I know that you'll be happy, but that's easy for me to say. I just need you to test it, and then I know that you'll never switch again. Start writing on the app. So there's no way to put this in that last paragraph. So as I'm saying as I'm explaining our core model, I am going to be backing it up with the app, right? Remember, the app is already out. In the packet, and the very back, if you don't know where it is, the very back page is our free terminal form. So when I'm explaining our core model, I'm also going to be grabbing things. When I tell them there's a free terminal, I'm literally going to pull the free terminal form out, show them, get it in front of them, so that the words coming out of my mouth are backed by an actual document. When I say that everything we do is month to month, I am going to write on the app, it's month to month, you don't have to write it, but I write it because I want them to see it. I want to make it very clear. So in the special comments or on the top of the page or the bottom of the page, I don't care where you write it anywhere. As you're explaining the model, say, yeah, we give all free terminals, boom, here's that. Let me show you that to verify. And also we do month to month, meaning if you're not happy, you don't have to stay with us. And then I will write in month to month, no contract. And if you want to, put an initial next to it. Because what we're doing is we're just making it solid. Right? So start writing on the app and show the free terminal form. We're walking them through the app without an awkward selling perspective. It's being used as a tool to gain trust, and your words match the fees crossed out. Basically what I just said, but I will throw in there, once you're on the app, once you're putting pen to paper on the app, we're starting to fill an app out. We are already bridging into the close without the awkward selling perspective, right? So that's why I said the pulling the app out is your first bridge and your second bridge. Because here's what kills deals. People have awkward pauses in their pitch. If you're out there just pitching and just talking, and maybe you're using the flyer, but you don't actually pull the app out to use that as a tool, well, at some point, you don't have anything left to talk about and you want to go for the close. But if the app isn't already out, when you go grab the app, unless they've said, hey, let's do it, sign me up, That'll happen. It's pretty rare. Those are the laydowns. But if you want to get good at this, most people don't say that. So when you transition to grabbing the app, it makes people uncomfortable. Like they liked the program, they liked you, they talked to you, they haven't fully made a decision. Then you go grab the app, and man, you're going to get a whole rapid fire list of reasons why they're not doing it today, because it's uncomfortable. Even worse, if there's a silent pause when you do it, that's even more awkward. Oh, here's the sales guy coming out. Oh, here it comes. He's going to try to get me. But because you already have, with my model, with how I'm showing you, you literally have it out. You pulled it out in a non-threatening way. You used it to gain trust. You use it to back up everything you're saying. Don't trust what I'm saying. Look at what's on the paper. And as you're filling out and starting to put pen to paper, writing things like month to month, you are literally beginning the process of filling out an application. It's awesome. So at this point, you got to get a bridge line. I call it a bridge close. This line, not just the one I'm going to give you, but the bridge close line, everyone should have one. And once you find the one that works for you, this is going to make your whole business. This line right here in capital letters that I'm about to go over, I used for many, many, many years. And once you get to this line, you either have a deal or you don't, and you're going to move on. Okay, so the savings is a no-brainer. The sales is a no-brainer. We've done everything to make this process as easy as possible for you. This capital letters is my bridge close. The hardest part is what we're doing right here. I'm basically done. It only takes another couple of minutes. What do you say? You're going to give me a shot? You'll never have to switch again, and you'll never have fees if you do. Give me a shot. I'll stick my hand out and get a handshake. If they shake my hand, we're doing business. That bridge close, and that may not be the exact line that you use. I'm literally giving you the line that made me hundreds of thousands of dollars in residual income to this day using. At this point, there's not a lot left to talk about. They understand. And if they're giving you rebuttals, then we'll address them for sure. But if they're not giving us rebuttals, you got to go for it at some point. Now's the time. The hardest part about this is what we're doing right here. It literally takes me like 3 minutes, and I'm pointing at the app, which I can which I already have on the table. It's so brilliantly done. It's so perfect. There's no weird pauses. You'll never have to switch again if you do. That's your second bridge right there. And again, people get stuck between presentation and close. People can explain it. They can go to work hard. They can get people interested. That was one of the things at the beginning of this segment. People don't know how to transition. They get stuck in a certain part. So having that app out is your bridge between the presentation and the close. The bridge close is your line. You have to have some line that officially gets you off the presentation. We officially don't have much left to talk about. You officially understand it. You officially understand our core model. You know what you're going to save. There's nothing left to explain. Let's transition and get on the paperwork. You do that with a bridge close line. The hardest part about this is what we're doing right here. It only takes me another 3 minutes and I can get out of your hair. What do you say? You ready to get rid of that bill forever? I'll be your guy forever. Give me a shot. Stick your hand out for a handshake. Like I said, you'll either have a deal or you won't at that point. Now, throughout this whole process, questions come in, rebuttals come up, and we're going to address all that stuff too. Once filling it out, no more explaining. Once you're on the application and they're filling it out, you're this close to a deal, all you got to do is not mess it up. The way that you mess up a deal is you keep explaining stuff. Okay, when you're on that app, once you're asking for address and phone number, no more details, no more unnecessary questions. The only questions at that point are whatever is in front of you on the application. These deals are so fragile, and the slightest thing that you say can trigger them coming up with 10 more rebuttals. So once you're on the app, focus on the app. And somebody out there is going to not listen to what I just said, and you're going to lose a deal. And I can't wait for the phone call, unfortunately, because that's how you're going to learn. You're going to be like, dang, you were right, man. I had the deal and I brought up XYZ, something small, didn't matter, and it totally threw everything off, and I walked out without the deal. So take my word for it, but that just comes from experience. And then rehashing the deal. You got the deal done. Just confirm they understand everything. This part's really simple. It's a done deal, right? You're going to send you some signage. You're going to put it up. It's going to take 5 to 7 days. If you can plug a toaster in, you can plug in a terminal, okay? It's going to come pre-programmed. Unplug your old machine, plug this one in. Now, if you're doing a personal install, which I highly suggest, that line will be a little different. Then let them know, I'll be back in 5 to 7 days myself, helping you plug this machine in. I look forward to it. Let them know that you're going to ask for referrals. Let them know that this program goes so good that we see more referrals than we've ever seen before, because once people realize that it is what we're telling them, they do want to send us to their family and friends and people that they know don't like paying the fees either. But first, I'm going to show you that this is the real deal. Just know that I will come back. I'm going to check on you. And once you see that it's for real, you know, I am going to ask you for some referrals. It helps me a lot. Okay. And they will be cool with it because you help them save hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. So that is the bridge closed. That is the bridges of the 5 steps to a conversation.